Yo guys, Paradox here, and today I have a little tutorial for you guys. It's been a while since I've done a tutorial, and I thought a lot of you guys have been wanting one, so why not go ahead and do one on this little effect that I just recently learned, and I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and get on into it. So what I'm going to be teaching you guys today is this threshold effect. I've been doing it recently on a few of my designs, and you can sort of see the outcome of this effect. You sort of get like the darks highlighted in a dark color, and then everything else just sort of disappears from the main image. You see here I did it on my Phase Blaze banner that I just recently did. I also did it on this Stephen Van Twitter header art that I did, but I don't really think it looks too good in this just because of the layout of this, but you still see the effect here, and it looks pretty good. So today we're going to be doing it for my boy Logic. I've done a lot of stuff on this guy, but I couldn't really think of anybody else to do it for, so this is what we're going to be doing this effect for. Before I start, depending on your background color, this effect could look a little bit different for you, and you'll see why in a second, but depending on your background color, this may or may not work. Typically it will work, but you know, depending on how dark or how light your color is, this could look a little weird, so just keep that in mind. But let's start off on this design. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is actually cut this guy out. There's a few ways that you can do this. The best way, in my opinion, is the pen tool. Just go around and you know, start really anywhere. I'll just start on his shoulder here and just sort of outline his body, and the more curves you do, the more accurate this is going to be. So if you can get some curved pen tool in here, it'll look a lot better. It's easier just to go around and like dot really fast, but that doesn't tend to look as good, in my opinion at least. So go ahead, cut your guy out. You can also use the wand tool, or if you have a PNG with like a transparent background, you can completely skip this step because your guy is already cut out. So I'm going to cut this guy out, and I will be right back once I do that. So now we have our guy pen tooled out. I'm going to change this back to white because it's easier for me to see. So we have our guy pen tooled out, and one thing I noticed is this guy's a little dark. We want a little bit more even shading. Now we do want some variation in the light levels so we can actually get this effect to look a little bit cooler. But right now he's a little too dark on this side, and it's going to be really hard to get detail on like his eye and stuff. So we're going to lighten this guy up, and how I'm going to do that is a adjustment layer. Now if you don't have your adjustment layer open, go ahead and go to Window and Adjustments, and I would recommend having this open all the time. There's a lot of useful stuff in here, and I use them all the time, and you know if you watch my speed arts, they're really useful. So I'm going to go ahead and press this levels adjustment. It's the second from the left on the top row, and then I'm just going to do create clipping mask, just so we're only affecting our guy, not the actual background. Next thing, you can just move these sliders to see like actual which light level you want. So I'm just going to move it to the left a little bit just to get it a little bit lighter, and yeah, I think that's good. So now we could actually get some detail in here, and that could look good. So you can also hold Control and press E, and that's just going to merge that adjustment with the actual image, so that looks a little bit better as far as organization goes. But if you want to be able to change that later, you can just leave it on top, and it'll work just as fine. Okay, so now we have our guy. He's got proper light levels. What we're going to do now is another adjustment layer. But this is the threshold adjustment layer, so this is where the effect sort of comes together. You're gonna see here what actually happens when we do this. So we get, you know, some really heavy black and white instead of sort of the shading that we have on the original image, which is good. You don't need your image to be in black and white, by the way. The image I found was just in black and white. You could have this as color, and it will still produce black and white when you add this adjustment layer on top. Another thing I'll add, make sure you have this as a clipping mask so it only affects the guy. And before I said that this could look a little weird depending on your background, so if I made this white, you're going to see what actually happens to our guy when we add this adjustment. Every single pixel is filled, on this guy. So even like if we had like a white background, you're gonna think that the white here is actually not even there, but we will have to change it to like multiply or something to actually get it to disappear. And depending on your background, it could look weird when you add a multiply layer on top of it. So that's really just what I was talking about earlier, and a lot of you guys might be confused from that. But go ahead and go back up to this threshold, and one thing I'm noticing right now, it's a little dark, and I'm going to be teaching you sort of how you can separate some of these, because for example, like right down here, I think this shirt looks actually pretty good in this upper right area, but the face is a little too dark. Maybe the rest of this shirt is a little bit too dark, so we're going to start editing this threshold layer. So what you're going to want to do is just move this slider back and forth until you sort of get at least one area that looks good. So right now I'm looking at the shirt and I'm seeing what actually looks, what looks good. And I think right around there, or maybe right around here, makes this like left half of the shirt look good. And you're going to want to look at the bigger parts first instead of the smaller parts. That's going to help you a lot in the long run. So I'm thinking that the left side of the shirt actually looks pretty good when we have our adjustment layer like that. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to be stacking threshold layers on top of each other. So now what we want is to go ahead and open up the brush tool. And I don't know why my Windows sounds are going off. It's really annoying. Let's just use the slider then, because that's really loud. Hopefully you guys couldn't hear that, but ow, my ears. But basically, we're going to paint black on this layer mask. So we're going to hide the actual adjustment on the parts that don't look good. So for example, it doesn't look very good on the face, so we're going to hide it by painting black over the layer mask on this threshold adjustment. Next thing, we could paint black, like right in here, but I think I'm just going to stick to the outline of this guy's actual shirt, just so we could get some more detail in there, because right now I think this looks fine, and especially when we finish the face and stuff, this will sort of, it'll look fine at the end. So just sort of getting the outline of the guy, having some black is probably what we're going to want. So next thing, just add another threshold. Again, make sure it's clipping mask so we don't mess with the background if you have, a different background. But now we're just going to adjust the slider, and we're going to keep looking at different regions. So right now I'm looking at this right side of the shirt, and I think that looks pretty good. Again, if you realize like, hey, I kind of want this detail to sort of go further, you can paint with black on this bottom threshold, and it's going to start revealing some more of this, the top threshold there, as you can see. And the further you go, the more of this effect you're actually going to get. I thought it looked fine, so I'll just sort of Control Z back quite a bit. And yeah, now we're looking like this. So again, the face is a little bit too dark, and that's from this threshold layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint black over this face. And I think the hair is actually alright, but we can mess with that later. So I'm just going to hide the whole face from this threshold. Alright, so now we're going to add another threshold, and it's basically just adding thresholds, making them clipping mask, and then just adjusting it to where you can get the most detail. It's a pretty easy going process, and once you get used to it, it's really, really easy to sort of pick it up and do it as you go. And I think this is a little bit too dark, especially just on this one eye. This one eye is causing me a lot of problems. So I'm just going to hide the layer from the eye and just add another little threshold to maybe get some more detail right there. And I think that looks good. So as you can tell, it's just, picking the biggest areas and making them look good, and then sort of hiding the areas that don't look good, and then adding another on top, and then doing the same process over and over again. So you could see, I went from a big portion of the shirt, made that look good, then I did the other portion of the shirt, made that look good, then I did the whole face, and then I did one eye. The more layers you have, the higher detail you're going to have in certain areas. It's a little bit more customizable than just what I'm showing you here. But obviously, you can sort of do whatever you want. And as you continue to mess with this, you're going to realize how many different ways you can actually add detail and stuff. But now we have the main guy cut out. The last step that I'm going to show you is how to actually get it on colored backgrounds, which I already sort of did this. So if you see here, we have sort of the threshold effect, but it actually fills the rest of the guy with white instead of just showing the black. So the easy way to fix this is to just go to the guy and change the layer mode to multiply. Now that's going to, sort of hide the lighter pixels, which there's only two types of pixels on our actual image here, black and white, because of those adjustment layers. And it's just going to make it sort of flow with the background, whatever background you have, a little bit easier. Now, obviously, it is going to depend on your background. So let's say we have like a really dark, brown, because it was close. You're going to see that it's sort of too dark, and it's going to look really weird. One way that you could fix this possibly is hold Control and press I on the actual image, and then change this layer mode to like overlay or soft light. With faces though, it's gonna look really weird, just because faces don't really fit well for that. You can also lower the opacity once you add multiply, and you can get sort of like a darker shade of whatever color you have. I think that tends to work pretty well. But you can mess around with this however you want. It really works with most, if not all, colors. You just have to sort of mess around with the layer mode and opacity a little bit to actually get it the way you want it. But yeah, that's basically the tutorial. Hopefully this didn't run on too long. I was trying to keep it short because I tend to talk too much in tutorials, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. And if you did, please make sure to leave a like. Comment if you want to see some more tutorials. I'm not really used to it just yet, so I'm still kind of getting used to it. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.